In case you missed my earlier post, I miscalculated how many episodes I had left, so counting this video, I'm currently 14 episodes away from hitting 300 episodes of this show. I apologize for not catching that sooner, so we'll have to wait a few more months to do that. In the meantime, though, it's time for the Patreon board! Well, time to do the movie critic dude's request, because the movie he's been wanting for a while has recently come out. That's right, it's time for Norm of the North Family Vacation. Ugh, why do we have another Norm movie? I'm guessing it's getting good funding somewhere. I mean, it's not like it's getting Arctic Dogs money, given that one flopped hard. But in any case, we have another change-up. Not only do we have a new writer, but we also have a new director, Anthony Bell. And do you know what he also made? Alpha and Omega! I mean, of course. Who else to direct a movie in an unnecessary franchise than someone who helped create an unnecessary franchise? Also, Rock Dog 3? I didn't even know there was a 2, and that's apparently coming out in 2020. In any case, while I want to give this the same benefit of the doubt as I have the last movie, in hoping that it at least improved from its predecessors, I'm not exactly too keen with one of the producers trying to avoid any criticism with the old "it's for kids and not those who live in their mother's basement" retort. And while I do get the notion that not every film has to cater to all demographics, and not all kids' films have to be super deep, but can still be just fun, that doesn't mean you can half-ass the work, especially since kids are typically smarter than you give them credit for. Okay, let's get this over with. I am at least curious about those 2 tigers, so here we go! So, what's this about? Oh, nothing. We move away from that. Guess they thought it was funny that the lemmings can bite away at ice for some reason. Anyway, while we see animals doing random stuff, there is a point to it. Apparently, everyone's been having problems lately, and all Norm is doing is sitting on his ass, playing with his phone.
Uh-huh. Wake up, you royal hiney! I need food! Have you thought about fishing? Fishing? Hello, I'm a caribou! I forage lichens, sedges, shrubs, the good stuff, the green stuff. Do you even care?
So I'm guessing this is the stage of his life where he starts wishing he had more free time than just ruling his whole life? Looks like someone just wants to be lazy. It doesn't help him either that this orca, named Tiny, who was also voiced by Brian Drummond, wants to be part of some jubilee that's coming up, but Norm won't let him because he's a killer whale. I mean, considering he might have been the one constantly eating seals in these movies, I don't blame him. But I guess he really does have family to answer to. Well, there goes my Sunday Vegeta joke. Thanks, Fart Whale. We then get a little bit of padding with Norm playing with his kids. It's harmless enough, but seeing that we came off from him ignoring the complaints of his people and a farting orca, this just seems like it might be like with George of the Jungle 2, where the main character needs to balance king life with family life. And yes, I do intend to review that one sometime. Eventually. Oh, I guess the lemmings are making an ice tower for some tradition, where Norm has to put his crown on top of it to ensure peace and prosperity and something about a curse. And he's got a lot to do to prepare. It takes him all afternoon, and even though it hardly seems like it's nighttime, he apparently missed his promised play date with his children for the nighttime snow fight. Seriously, they just went to bed early or something? I know Norm is tired, but at least disappoint your kids by sucking at the game you might be good at. Even Elizabeth is sad that Norm is way too busy for them to even go on a family vacation. Not enough of the family drama. We get something that will amount to a plot, with some heavily coded humans skiing off his ice ship and is attempting to steal Norm's crown. Our villain of the movie has trouble being a potential threat right away. Anyway, after an awkward breakfast, Norm brings up how the crown is missing, and Socrates says that if they don't find it soon, they'll be cursed with an endless winter.
It's our history, Norm.
At any rate, Norm notices the ski tracks and follows them to the ocean, where he asks Tiny if he saw anything. And of course, Tiny decides to take advantage of him by saying he'll only talk if he lets him and his pod go to the Jubilee. Norm has no choice but to accept the terms, and Tiny, while only remembering seeing a ship, decides to ask others out there using his sonar. Okay, a little bit much there, but I could see that as almost being funny. So yeah, they learn about the ice ship and that it's heading to China. Now don't quote me here, but I believed someone mentioned that it was they who were funding the Norm movies, which could explain the previous movie, and this one being set in China, plus the use of Fong in these movies, but I'm not entirely certain. Either way, they know that he's heading to Harbin, which is a real place, and the architecture even matches the multicolored buildings in some way, but I'm guessing they're heading to an animal version of it, given the app pictures. And yeah, while Norm needed to keep this from his family, the Cubs find out, and naturally there's no way he's gonna back out of it now, since this is his chance to get on his family's good side again. So, on board the ice ship that the Lemmings created, even pushed by them. Amazing how even though the villain was so far away that he was close to China, Norm and family were able to catch up rather quickly. Good thing he has a torpedo, and Norm is being forced into a group picture. They could all die now.
Everyone say,
Jump! Jeez.
Huh. I guess he wasn't interested in killing, though I suppose that will be explained later as well. When in doubt, call on Fong, the richest bunny in the world, to airlift you to Animal Harbin. It doesn't look too bad, but if only they had a higher budget to really take advantage of the color scheme they have going. Gotta love how they have faces of the villains from prior movies. That's kinda funny. Oh, and for some reason, one of the lemmings falls for this obviously iced lemming. A few minutes of dinking around and having fun, and soon Norm spots the tracks of the mystery skier. Otherwise, hey look, the tigers! They actually look pretty decent, not gonna lie. Though I can't help but think that the only reason they made them twins, named Pete and Repeat, is so they didn't have to do more than 2 major tiger models. Since spoilers, they have a father, and he's larger than the 2 sons. The only difference I could spot for the twins is Repeat having a black stripe on the left side of his snout, but that's it. Anyway, their father is named Fu, and he's voiced by Paul Dobson. He's been in a ton of stuff, and from the looks of it, he might actually be the one who stole Norm's crown. And considering he has the voice of Noraku, and has rockets like the one used on Norm, he is clearly the one behind the masked skier was small and had a slimmer build compared to him. He's not the one who stole the crown.
What brings you to Harbin?
A long overdue family vacation.
Just before the Northern Jubilee? Strange.
It's never the wrong time for family fun, huh?
Are you staying for the weekend? My birthday is coming up, and I would be honored to have you join me.
What? No! Dad, we thought it was just gonna be the three of us for your birthday this year.
Kids having father issues like Norm's kids? I wonder if that's a theme. Oh good, more lemming nonsense. Never again will I complain about the minions being too juvenile, for none will ever be as bad as the fricking lemmings. So while Norm goes tracking down the skier, the family hangs with Fu, and we see that he used to be a skier before ruling his own city, even having his own suit in a locked closet. I know what they're trying to do, but it's not gonna work. If you looked very closely at the skier's eyes, they don't appear to be blue, even with the goggles being dirty or whatnot. Also, it's his sons who bring up how if their father was king, they'd have more time to take their own vacations, so that might relate to something. I'll hold off till later on who the skier might be, since this is supposed to be a kid's movie, so it's not like what I said would be obvious to anyone that young. Anyway, Norm finds goggles, and of course it leads him inside the place the family was in. But we got to have a stair joke, because Norm still hasn't mastered the art of climbing stairs.
Fu stole my crown.
Moving on, through his fumbling around, he finds a secret passageway inside Fu's trophy room, and finds what might have held his crown, but the skier outsmarted him and traps him inside. Meanwhile, Socrates tries calling Norm and accidentally lets out that the crown is missing, causing everyone to panic, and yeah, they only have 2 days till the endless winter comes or something. Whatever, the family realizes that Norm is missing and actually go looking for him. Yes, they do care after all, but what's Norm gonna do trapped inside the manor? Well, the lemmings at least have the right idea to sneak in, as ninjas, and find where he is, but need to get it open. Well, it's not like they're gonna figure out how to open the door normally, so let's build an ice drill machine and break it open.
What in the Northern Lights are you doing? Get down from there. Have you gone mad?
Hey, they were onto something for once. Well, they get him out, and despite it looking like this is the moment where if he tells them the truth, they'll at least accept him because he was trying to be with them, it goes the opposite way.
You did what?
I should have known. Classic Dad.
What are you talking about?
This trip was never about spending time with us. It was about you and that stupid crown.
No! Well, yes. Well, it wasn't at first. But it is now. You know that you're all that matters to me.
Are we?
Of course you are. But if I don't retrieve the crown before the beginning of winter at the Jubilee tomorrow, an endless winter will fall upon the North. And I'll be known as the worst king ever.
It's not the only thing you'll be known as.
Quinn, stop.
No, he's right. I haven't been the best dad recently.
Recently? Try ever since you became king!
Oh, that's not true, and you know it. You had 2 movies where you were fine with him, so don't start that now. Fu shows up, and Norm takes this chance to accuse him of being the one who took the crown. But shortly after he denies it, it becomes apparent he didn't steal the crown because he doesn't have the key to his suit. And of course...
The twins!
There! Tracks!
Like I said, the skier was shorter than Fu and was even slimmer than him. Other than the eye color, that's the only real giveaway here. On one hand, this at least removes a villain from this movie, and just makes it about two kids wanting more father time. But on the other hand, a lot of this movie was spent dinking around and not much happening with them. We only have a half hour to go to start developing the twins, so let's get to it.
They're good kids. I don't know why they'd do such a thing. Excuse me. I'm so ashamed.
There. At least you can rest knowing that you're not an evil tiger like in some other movies. But yeah, this is for Norm to learn that Fu wanted his kids to be proud of him and still be the leader of this city. So he too has to step up as well. I guess the family got over being mad at Norm since they learned who took the crown. Though they don't give a speech about it till the next scene.
I can't do this!
You can do this, Dad. You're king of the North. But even more than that, you're my dad.
Our dad! The king of our family.
Yeah, time to scale that wall. Oh.
You're kidding me, right?
What? It was such a nice family moment. I mean, you could climb the side of this peak, or we could just go inside.
Okay, I'll give you that. And he steps on a trap tile and gets snowballed back to town. Guess he'll really be out of it for a while. Jubilee update time. The statue is done. Still need the crown though. While Norm and family spot the boys, they get into a trap. One where the statues shoot snowballs at them, so they have to destroy them? This just seems like a mild hindrance. Or a chance for Norm to make up for missing their Snow Blast event. Anyway, they catch the boys and they start apologizing. They only stole the crown for Fu's birthday to make him more kingly, I guess? Also, I guess this implies their mother is dead, since we never see her. That might have been something to bring up in relation to this.
It's okay. I'm not mad at you. You just wanted to help your father feel better about himself. But trust me, a crown does not make a king.
Family does. That's all that truly matters. I'm so sorry I've been such a workaholic. I love you guys so much.
We love you too, Dad.
Shoot me.
Well, how's one group photo sound? They still gotta get home, but at least the photo is decent. Oh, and it turns out that endless winter they brought up is true, as there's a storm brewing, and Feng won't be able to airlift them home this time. Fu at least offers them his ship to hopefully get home on time, even though they're kinda across the world right now. And as they leave, Fu decides he should go skiing with his kids, all while Norm and family suffer from the storm.
It's too powerful!
It's a good thing the tigers didn't go. That way they don't get to die, and we can finally end this movie franchise. Well, actually, a seal spots them and Sonar's tiny so he can go save them. Guess this proves they're not killer whales after all. And just in time, as the storm hits home, and Norm has to climb the statue and place his crown on top to stop it. And what do you know, it really was a curse, as the crown magically destroys the storm.
Norm, you saved the North!
Nah, Socrates, we did it. All of us. Together.
I hope you learned your lesson about never losing the crown again.
I learned a more important lesson. Life is all about balance.
Anyway, obligatory dance sequence!
one more. The perfect shot.
I think we already have.
So, that wasn't terrible, just pretty plain. Like, it's not as upfront about its messaging this time. Like, you can easily tell that Norm wants to balance his king life and his family life, and they don't really say that till the very end. It's just what was given was mostly padding. Like, they could have condensed this down to less than an hour by removing some of the filler, so there's a better balance of Norm and family trying to have fun and also trying to find the crown from the Tiger Kids. I am at least happy they didn't make the father evil, and while what the kids did seemed a bit complicated for their age, I didn't dislike them or anything. But really, by this point it's apparent they can't really do much with Norm anymore. They aren't capable of having competently written drama, and the kid-friendly stuff keeps coming out generic or gross. It's hardly worth looking into at this point, and fortunately, at the moment, there doesn't appear to be any more Norm movies planned. But that could easily change, and I'm certain someone will request me to cover it. I will dread the day that happens. Otherwise, movie's not good. There are far better kids movies out there that exist over this one. With that, depending on when I get the DVD for the other movie request, I may either do that next or after the webcomic episode. You'll see which I'll go with first next time.
Fu stole my crown. Ah!